All right, so hey, just to start off, this is the first time you've had your whole team on a practice floor in like 2 years. Just what kind of things do you want to get done now that you actually can be productive in an offseason?
More than anything, just build habits. Obviously, you sign the right guys, which we feel we have across the board, not just the guys that we most recently signed. They're working on their game. So you get 4 hours a week with your team, and obviously they're spending a lot more than that on their own working on their game. So just trying to build habits, trying to kind of put some things in, talk about some things, so when you do get to the fall and start to practice, and not everything is just so green for the young guys.
How much should the U19 experience help your guys?
Well, I think more than anything lets them know that they belong. And anytime you can play against the best players in the world at your age, and especially have success. All 3 of those guys won medals, and 2 out of the 3 won the all-tournament team. And just proud of those guys. I thought Caleb First really willed his way onto the team. He was a younger guy. He was in there with some really talented guys, and rebounded the ball well. Jaden obviously played well in that last stretch, in that last game, and had some exciting moments there. And then Zach arguably had the best tournament of anybody. I think if Canada would have got the gold, he'd have been the MVP of the tournament. And his numbers were really impressive, especially from a rebounding and from an efficiency. But just building confidence, just knowing that you belong. The guys that make that jump are normally the guys that are freshman year, that have the ability, have the talent, but they just have to acclimate themselves to college basketball. And I think both those guys had super freshman year, but I think they can even have even better sophomore years.
Was the rebounding kind of what stood out with Zach in your mind as far as I guess the volume of it?
Yeah, in our situation, he's used to getting the ball. And so it kind of showed that if he doesn't get the ball, he can still go get it off the glass. So if you can get it in good post-up positions, and you can get it off the glass, and you can run the court like he can, you're really putting the other team in a bind.
How can you get the most out of both Zach and Travion this year?
Well, obviously, we always try to work towards somebody's backup. We always say that. Like, the more we get it in, the more we get to the free throw line, the more we get to somebody's backup. And, we're excited about whoever the backup is on our team. I don't think everybody is. So it's really certain matchups can allow us to do that, but certain matchups can't. It's really not up to Zach. It's Travion's ability to guard the other guy and what they do and how they're kind of scheming, and the other team's inability to guard us. Right. So I think that's I had a situation in the Maryland game at home where I just Zach wasn't a good matchup in that game, but I was going to do it anyways because I thought they had to match up to him, and then it just after 5 possessions, I think like 3 offense, 2 defense, we went from being up 8 or 9 to tied or down 1. And it really taught me a hard lesson. It was like, the only way you can stop the game, is if you have the basketball, live play keeps going, and you don't want to use one of your timeouts, because that's not the purpose of it. So, very fortunate to have both of those guys, but really that's what it's going to determine. I think Caleb First, obviously, is in that fray as a 4-man. I think that experience at the U19s, because we talked about that with him playing 4. Some for us, but he hadn't had a lot of experience doing that, if any at all, and now he's had some experience doing that. So I think that can really benefit us all. So we have a good issue right there.
Right. From what you saw both at the tryouts in person, but also heard from the other USA basketball people, what got Caleb on the team?
Just his ability to rebound. He led the trials, in offensive, defensive rebounds. He took the most free throws. Just, he was active, had a lot of energy, just was around the basketball a lot.
What does it do for these guys' confidence? Obviously, Caleb hasn't played a Big Ten season yet, but the other 2 guys have. Just coming back and getting with you guys now, confidence-wise, what is that doing for those 3?
Any experiences you can have. We always are, open to that. Guys going on trips themselves, going on an international trip with us, playing for their country. Just knowing that you belong and getting out there and playing and competing. Probably in Caleb's chance, he would like to play more. And that happens. Travion was in that position as a backup on his team 2 years ago. And, you just want more of that. But I think that kind of leads into the season knowing, hey, I can compete against the best.
Is Caleb ready to expand to his 3-point? Get out and expand his 3-point
the thing that I always talk about guys that, that want to grow into that shooting is the first step is your free throws. And Caleb shot 82% as a junior. He shot 84% last year. So he's really put in time to be a great free throw shooter. It's something that I talked to him about in recruiting that he mentioned publicly, like, look at my free throws, look how they've improved. And then now you're going to be able to grow into making 18-footers, stepping behind the arc and making threes. So, yeah, anytime you can get to that consistency on the line, I think it's going to help you, shoot on the perimeter. So a lot of the guys that do it, and big guys that do it, all the guys that have been around, let it be a part of your game. Don't let it be your game. You know what I mean? And so if you can take that in and understand time and score and, what we're trying to do, but anytime you can knock down a couple of those and keep people honest, it's definitely going to help with the spacing.
I understand you haven't had them very much this summer, but is there anything about this team that gives you confidence you're going to have the sort of three-point shooting team that you want to have this year? I know there's some circumstances last year.
I hope so. Obviously,
and all that
yeah,
stuff.
we recruited towards it. That was something last year that I like from a decision-making standpoint. I thought our decision-making got better. I never thought it was great like it was, a couple years before. Kind of the same thing with three-point shooting. We have some guys that are missing threes that I think can make them and that have made them in the past. So I think that's an important piece when you have that confidence to, even though you struggle some, to be able to step up and knock them down. You watch us practice. When we get open, we normally make shots. And but you got to be able to knock those down when the popcorn's turning.
Was Isaiah get back before you're done with the summer workout?
Yeah, he'll get back next week. So he was right on the, kind of on the timeline. It's still bothering me a little bit, so there's no sense of risking that. And then Caleb goes to the doctor tomorrow to get his foot looked at. So hopefully we'll get some good news from him and get Isaiah and him back next week.
And Trey's back full now?
Yep, this was his first full workout. So I thought he looked good. Just, you got to get in shape and just feel good about everything. And the one thing about putting a lot of things in, it's hard for guys sometimes. You got to really stay on them about playing hard and competing because they're constantly processing what they're supposed to do. Like you gotta go out there and still play hard and lay it on the line. But when you don't quite know what's going on at all time, there's a lot of new things running at you. It's kind of a normal hiccup.
Coach, just from a generic standpoint, obviously the talent is really deep here, and you said you feel good about obviously your backups with the bigs, but just talk about in general with this team, the guys you have coming off the bench. You have kind of a luxury that a lot of coaches probably won't have, right?
Well, I think it's the old adage in recruiting, like, you don't recruit talent, you try to recruit production. And that's what we want. We want guys to be productive, and I think that's the thing that'll keep us going. It's going to be a lot of different people on a given night. Guys coming off the bench. And if you have a great team, you got more than 5 starters. So hopefully that's going to be us. We can do that. But I think the competition's the thing that's going to really get us going and help us improve through the fall and into the season.